Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're with us this morning. Let's get started with our weather brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning. Drew Pollard and hard-working crew taking care of everyday comfort needs. It's going to be nice today. High of 82, low of 69. And check out our water temperature at the end of the pier brought to us by Alco Electric out of Lynn Haven at 80 degrees again. And we've talked about it's gone up 10 degrees in 1 month. It's been fascinating to watch. Our river reading is brought to us by the good folks at Panama City Coca-Cola. The rivers are right. The Apalachicola Brunstown is a 7.7 and steady. And the Choctaw Caraville this morning reading a 2.7 and steady, below 3 foot. There will be some nice fish caught this weekend off both our big rivers. The tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Good strong tides. Look at the tide. High tide this morning, 8:48, and low at 6:15 tonight. So this morning is going to be a perfect morning, and we've been having this high tide right in the middle of the day, but now it's in the morning, so it's been interesting to watch it. Let's go and do our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers. Looking at 4:11 to 6:11 this morning, and 4:41 to 6:41 tonight. Wind coming in south at 10 to 20. We have some wind. On the phone, in order to have her hooked up here, Captain Kim down at Sea Quarters Marina in Carabel. Good morning, Captain Kim.
Good morning, Mr. Chester.
Well, how's everything down your way?
Well, it's been a beautiful week. We've had all kinds of river fishing. Guys got to go offshore. There's been some Carabel beach fishing. We've been catching all kinds of good things. Pompano, flounder, a lot of catfish. A couple of the local kids were up here at the boat ramp right by the office catching sharks yesterday, having a grand old time with that. Wow.
That's not a small town fishing village America right there. Got some kids fishing off the dock catching sharks.
Yeah, it's been a real profitable week. The river fishing's been real good. The brim, and of course we haven't had rain forever, so the river levels are good, and they've been doing real good with stump knockers and brim and ditch fishing, all kinds of good stuff. So
I love it.
Pompano, kingfish, everything's out there right now.
Well, listen, it's been a good pompano run up here. So the pompano pretty strong down around the St. George Island.
Yeah, that's for sure. Even here, right off the Carabel Beach.
That's awesome. That's good to hear there in the bay and all. So, and you found some king mackerel coming in now?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How about some king mackerel?
Oh yeah, the last 4 or 5 days they've actually been catching pretty good just past between St. George and Dog Island.
Oh man, that's not fun. I got to get down there pretty soon. Thank you.
We look forward to it. We look forward to it. Our kingfish tournament's coming up soon. We'd love to see you.
Okay, I'm going to sure try to be there. I got it on my calendar, and I'm going to talk about it, and looking forward to it. Thank you, Captain Kim.
Appreciate it. You bet. You have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Thank you. All right, let's take a quick break. Be right back. Okay, welcome back. You know, we're talking about the importance of having our voice being heard as outdoorsmen, and especially, you know, in the City Commission, County Commission, and Tallahassee, and we do a good job of that. I just want to give you a couple of results. You remember about 3 weeks ago I was in Tallahassee with the, pushing outdoor education program, and I got to see some other things too. The group with me, I was with them, Marine Industries of America. They were presenting some of the legislators down in South Florida wanted to prohibit anchoring within 5,000 feet of a port. And it was crazy because what it was, some of those rich folks didn't want people anchoring in front of their house. Well, anyway, Missy Timmons, our lobbyist, Panama City native, alumni of my basketball program in the 80s. So she's a powerful lobbyist. But look at here, she jumped on this. She and her strong company right here. Chip Lamarcus thinks his anchoring limit. This guy that actually, Mr. Timmons sent it to me, thought you might not have seen this since you walked around with us. This coming straight out of the Tallahassee legislature, and actually the guy withdrew it because he got so much heat from the lobbyist. So this is a good thing right here. The other thing I was going to talk about real quick, and I can get it right here. There's a lot of stuff right here. State House votes to send the Apalachicola drilling ban bill to the Florida governor. Folks, there are a lot of folks up here really voice their concern. Look at the vote right there, 108-0 to pass the bill. So do not have oil drilling in the Apalachicola Bay. So, you know, that's some great positive things. I got excited about just seeing all of that. Just really, really cool stuff. And I just, we got to have a voice heard. And we talked about the Gulf County election for county commissioner this past election, and where one of the commissioners put on top of his signs, tap the brakes. And he got voted in by a landslide. What's going on now, I'll take Lynn Haven an example. Their developers are developing this little island out from the ballpark, and I saw it on Facebook, and there was like 215 comments from the citizens, most of them citizens from Lynn Haven. Out of over 200 were totally against that development because it's going to pack them in, and it's going to be more traffic, and well, just a few people were in favor of it. And that goes to show you those people should have been at a city commission meeting last year or 2 years ago when they approved them doing that. So we've got to hear our voices. Our voices got to be heard. They got to hear our voices. So I get excited when that kind of stuff happens, because I realize that so many of us want to sort of slow down, and we don't want to be South Florida. We don't want to be Atlanta, Georgia. Our traffic here is phenomenally bad. So anyway, that's how I feel about it. So anyway, let me see. Let me start on the pictures. Don't get me started. Tournament's coming up. Okay, here's coming on. We've got this, the Bayou Bash. Folks, that's today. They're going to have it. Okay, the captain meeting today, May the 2nd through the 4th. Okay, that's today, tomorrow, and Sunday. That's Salinas Park right there, and go to the weigh-in and try to participate if you can. Try to get in it. Bayou Bash, that's a good tournament there. I don't think I've mentioned it. This is next weekend. Trey Nick, his family seafood restaurant right there in Freeport, Basin Bayou, right outside of Freeport. Great restaurant. Love to get fresh mullet right there when we're headed toward the Niceville area. But that tournament, they started this tournament a long time ago, and it's going to be a fun one. I'll get the times on it, but I'm going to try to, well, I can't go with all of them. But, and then the big one, Memorial Day coming up on May 24th. Memorial Day, the Howard Creek, in honor of James Mathis Memorial, brim fishing tournament and fish fry. Folks, you don't get to see very many brim fishing tournaments anymore. Weigh in, it's just a special place. I'm going to be there this year, and Chuck, you see the numbers at the bottom. Leon, if you can't do anything, go down there and just get a plate. That's some really cool stuff. I was thinking about it this morning, looking at that's 3 big tournaments right here about brim, surf fishing, and trout fishing in the bay. Yeah, that's awesome. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I always love it when my viewers, some of our viewers are friends that all to send me something that's sort of unique, and all the feedback I get from y'all, that's what makes this show to me, just hearing from y'all and showing different things. My good buddy, Jim Lawson, he watches, went to Bay High School and coached with us a long time at Mosley, but he, great guy. We do breakfast together, a bunch of old coaches every Monday morning. So he sent this to me. So we're talking about inventions, different things we do as outdoorsmen to invent things. And inventions always just been so cool to me. In fact, I started with my outdoor ed program. I started, one of the assignments was to invent something for outdoors. And you can imagine some of the things these kids came up with. They didn't really have to make it. They'd get up on the board and talk about it and show it. But some of them made some things, and I have to share some of those things still. I still remember some cool stuff. But Jim sent this to me. This is fishing, okay? Let me see if we get it. Uh-oh. Let's see, right here. Let's play it. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. That's a little battery thing. It wiggles. It's moving fast. I'm going to show it twice. So you stick it down the mouth of the fish, and the tail starts wiggling. Okay? That's a small one there. They come in different sizes. Okay? Then you put the other one in a bigger fish for bigger bait for bigger fish. And that starts wiggling. Okay? And you hook it on there, and then it keeps wiggling. Is this not crazy? And this is in an aquarium. They got it below a cork. Is that not real? Okay, let's go back. It jumped to another. I'm going to show it again. It's called Kanama, Kanama. I don't know a lot about it, but I just admire. Okay, here we go right here. That's a little battery pack, and it's a little thing at the tail. You stick it in there, and then you turn it on. Push the button, turn it on. So the tail wiggles, and then you have this right here. So you put that one in there for a small one. Is this not? How creative is this? I may try to find one. They're fairly expensive at $20, $30, I think. But hey, look at there. If you were fish, would you not eat that? So anyway, I just think I love inventions for the outdoorsmen, different things they get to watch. And then as I looked at it, I always sort of reflect back on all of the inventions I've seen in outdoors, and especially in fishing and all. And if you remember, Gail and I really got into collecting antique tackle way back in the day, and we don't do it anymore. But we have a little collection that we're very proud of, and it's not worth all that much, but it's just the memories of how things were done. And one of my our favorites, was a guy out of Thomasville, Georgia, made the Clay's Redhead. And I brought my case here. I'll keep them in different ones in a case. This is a Clay's Redhead, okay, right here. And talking about inventions now. Let me, what he did, it was the coolest thing. He would come down from Thomasville, Georgia, to Apalachicola Bay. And what he did, he kept losing his Lucky 13s, the old Lucky 13 heading. He kept losing on the oyster bars. And back then, you didn't want to lose a lot of oysters. I'm gonna actually take it out of here, okay? You got to treat it gently. So he went back home and kept fiddling around trying to figure out how not to lose it. And I could just picture him doing this. Was in the 1930s, okay? So what he did, he made something look like a Lucky 13, but he put a spring in here. It was attached to this front right here, okay? And this, I don't want to pull it hard. This would pull, okay? If it got hooked, you would jerk it really hard, and a spring in here, and then it'll spring back to unhook it. He actually got a patent on it. I get so tickled thinking about how it was called a Clay's Redhead, because all these lures were redhead. They were hard to find, and the hardest thing to find in all these old fishing tackle was the actual box itself. It says Clay's Retrievable Minnow. So you could retrieve it, and this is just we have fond memories of collecting this, and I found it amazing how you find this thing back then. And let me see, I took a picture. Let me read it right here. Here it is right here. I took a picture of what I have inside. Gail typed this up. T.H. Clay, Clay's Bait Company, Thomasville, Georgia. Mr. Clay's favorite fishing spots are oyster bars, Apalachicola Bay. When pursuing his beloved speckled trout, he continuously had problems with the Lucky 13s. He thus worked on a solution to the problem, which resulted in a patented spring-loaded line. To this, he added a reversible metal lip. Okay, and then and here's the let's see. Oh, here it is. Here's a close-up of the box in different colors. But see how the lip is reversible. You can turn it around. So it was just really cool inventions. When I saw the invention that Jim Lawson sent to me, I flashed back and thought about this. I wanted to share that with you. And some of the kids did different things, and all my students. And one of my favorite was a golf ball. Big old football player did it. He was fun. He got a golf ball, drilled a hole through it, put a fishing line, and then attach the fishing line to his fishing reel. So he would hit the golf ball, and it'd go out on the football field, and then he'd reel the ball back in. I don't know if anybody's ever invented that, but I thought it was a great idea. Okay, I've got a lot more stuff to share with you. Let's go to, let me see, a couple of accidents we had this past week or last week too. It was interesting and sad at the same time. You saw this one down in Clearwater. Actually, one person was killed. This boat, they actually had a video. I'm not going to show you the video, but a boat ran over it. It said it hit and run, but they ended up not charging the guy because he was in emergency, but he ran over the top of this ferry boat, and it was at dark. And I don't know if the boat was well lit, but you can see the guys. And this was just incredible. I'd heard about it, so I looked it up online. Alabama student over there, he's actually hiking. He and a group of people are hiking, and this guy, very active at University of Alabama, 22 years old, computer science major. And basically what happened, folks, they were camping, and they were over there in Georgia, and They happened to, they were camping overnight. They were in a really rough area about 4 miles away from the trails, which it was legal and everything. A group of those college kids, and a tree actually fell down on them and trapped them. So it was just a pure accident. And it just took the rescuers a long time to get to them. They finally got a helicopter. But it just, I bring that kind of stuff up every now and then, not to scare you or anything, because you can't live life scared. But you got to just be careful. But some of those things can't be prevented. So it does happen. Let's end up on some good stuff right here. How about on the Panama City fishing page, Chase Johnson got a beautiful trout, 22.5 inches on a twitch bait. Okay, this is me the other day. You know how we like to save the turtle. You're looking west here. At the end of this road is Highway 77, going from left to right, south to north. Okay, this is McCormick Road where I turn off to go to my house. I actually went past this turtle. I mean, it was a small turtle. I did not say almost ran over, but I actually straddled it. Well, I don't like to straddle them because you don't know if they're moving, but anyway, I pulled off the side of the road, and of course we're going to rescue the turtles. We did this when a kid. We always do this. I always have. So I'll go back, pick them up. I take them over to the shoulder of the road, about 4 or 5 feet off the road, headed into the woods. I just happened to look down where I set them. Check this out. I set them in a blackberry patch. Can y'all see the blackberries? Is that not cool? And you see the red ones getting ready? And I'm going to take Ashley back up there. Ashley lives over there with us now, and across the road, and she loves blackberries. So anyway, I thought to myself, he should feel very lucky because I rescued him and I put him in a place where he can get some good food and all. But another thing that was interesting about that's the shoulder of the road, and they mow it on a regular basis. The county does. But over the years, sometimes you see wildflowers get mowed down, and they grow back up and get mowed again. But those blackberries that on vines, they sort of hug the ground, and they survive all the mowing, and they get stronger and stronger. So blackberry picking is a lot of fun this time of year, and we're going to try to do some this weekend. All right, I've got to do the drawing, but my jar is way over there. We've got Famous Friday fishing forecast coming up. So let's take a break. We'll come out and do the drawing and talk about catching some fish this weekend. Okay, welcome back. We have a Famous Friday fishing forecast brought to us by Jessica Ling Insurance and Financial up here in Lynn Haven. Good folks up there. To get a chance to run by, see them, tell them thanks for helping promote this show and support it. Our Famous Friday fishing forecast is so important. I get so much feedback from it. I just really enjoy doing it. And we didn't get to do our drawing, so let's do our drawing. Talking about good sponsors. How about Gene's Oyster Bar, a fried mullet plate from Palatka. How about Deborah Tattersall from Palatka, Florida? Watch this on YouTube. So when she's in town, I promise you she'll run by there. So make sure we get that covered. All right, a $20 gift certificate from Alpha Keela James. And the big red snapper that we're going to have all kinds of seasons on. Okay, I got two. Let me get one now. From Panama City Beach, Keith Keene. So Palatka, Panama City Beach, and Alpha, and put them in that order so I can write them down. And speaking of red snapper, remember the season, the governor signed off on the longest season ever? It always starts in June. Not this year. It's actually going to start Memorial Day weekend. So if you got some folks in town that really want to get started on red snapper fishing, try to get a trip set up Memorial Day weekend. That's sort of cool there. Okay, let's talk about really quick what we want to cover. The big thing, I'm running short of time, I sort of get long-winded. We used to talk about our preacher getting long-winded. Mama didn't like that because her Sunday dinner would be cold. She didn't want to have long-winded pastors on Sunday morning. Bring back fond memories. St. George Island is what I want to talk about real quick. St. George Island, I'm going to zoom in on it. Before I get to St. George Island, let me mention Choctawhatchee Bay over, in case I don't get to it, it's at the bottom down here. I wrote down Hogtown Bayou. There's been some really big flounder taken out of Hogtown Bayou this past week. So on Choctawhatchee Bay, that area there on Hogtown Bayou, hopefully we'll get to that. But I want to go to St. George Island right now because we just talked to Carabelle, and you heard what she said. They're catching pompano up here behind Dog Island. They're catching all kind of fish, king mackerel. They're catching right outside the pass here. And then, of course, surf fishermen, we talk about this all the time. I always talk about surf fishing, the St. George Island State Park. Man, are we blessed to have that. But on the backside, around this island right here, it's real muddy and all. I've over the years, I don't do it much anymore, but we could put in here and we'll just walk out or kayak out around this island here. There's some really nice, good wade fishing, but you got to be careful and don't get in that mud. You really would get stuck in the mud. I want to go down here to right up in here, this area right here, this youth camp. Also, there's a good little place right there to launch your boat around Goose Island and walk out there. I fished there a lot in years past. Okay, and then while we're on St. George Island, I hadn't mentioned this later. Go down here to all these. This was incredible. Look at the houses. Gail and I were talking about this last night. There used to be no houses. We can't remember it. Her uncle's house right in here, I'm gonna go to, was the 5th house ever built on St. George Island, still standing. So anyway, what I'm gonna show you, you get your boat in over here, and if you fish these docks here, you can spend a day going up and down and fishing these docks right here. I mean, it's great because what happens, see right here, here's the pass, the Bob Sykes Cut. And the fish are coming in and out. It's just an amazing place. I don't talk enough about St. George Island, but just the island itself, all to fish. But let me move on. I've got to talk about the top 3 spots, the top 3 things. I talk about St. George Island, places to go. St. George Island, Sandy Creek. You saw the catches out of Sandy Creek, and also Hogtown Bayou. Those 3, that's 3 bay systems. St. George, Sandy Creek and East Bay, and over Choctawhatchee Bay. Hogtown Bayou. Fresh water has been really hot. The big thing I wrote down, this is May. Well, and Monday I'm going to talk about when the full moon of May is, because I talk about it all year. You're probably tired of me talking about the full moon of May coming up, and what a great time freshwater fishing and right before the full moon. So we're going to really hit that next week. I've got all kinds of things to cover I didn't get to today. But the fishing, I wrote down the Alan and Brandon, they got a big catfish tournament. I didn't mention the catfish tournament up here in Bristol. So you can get, that's tomorrow night. So you can fish it or go with somebody and enter it, and all that is 100% payback on that catfish tournament. So I got all kinds of things to, I just sit last night, I was putting this together, I just sat down and marveled at all the places to fish here in Florida Panhandle. Look at it, it's incredible. Run out of time, y'all. I appreciate the viewership. You'll have a great weekend. Do something good for someone else today. Enjoy the great outdoors. Take care of it, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.